Something seriously off about Prince Harry lately, and it's not just gossip. The guy who used to be the fun-loving, cheeky royal has turned into a shell himself, and now people who used to support him, even root for him, are stepping back and just watching the downfall unfold like some tragic royal soap opera. Let's be honest, Harry's never been the most stable of the royals, but recently the rumors swirling around him aren't just about tension with the family or awkward podcast appearances. These whispers are darker rumors about drug use, hospital visits, unconscious episodes. People close to the situation, including outspoken figures like Lady Colin Campbell and even Thomas Markle Jr., aren't mincing words. They're openly saying Harry looks mentally and emotionally broken, and that Meghan Markle and even her mom, Doria Ragland, might be playing a role in pushing him over the edge. Lady C, known for her brutal honesty and royal connections, believes Harry has always had underlying issues, possibly from birth. She even brought up Diana's serious bulimia while pregnant with Harry, suggesting that trauma may have imprinted itself early. Whether or not you buy that theory, it's clear she doesn't see Harry as just a guy who made bad choices. She sees him as someone genuinely disturbed, vulnerable, the kind of person easily manipulated. Hey.
So apparently Harry was found unconscious by his well-known longtime personal friend bodyguard, unconscious, and apparently over something.
And according to her, he's found himself surrounded by opportunists, specifically Meghan, whom she flat out describes as the wasp in his life, constantly stinging, constantly feeding his darkest instincts. Now here's where it gets crazy. Thomas Markle Jr. publicly claimed that Harry was found unconscious by his longtime bodyguard. No one from Harry's camp has denied it, which is strange because usually the PR machine kicks in hard to crush anything unflattering. Instead, radio silent.
One guess at this, it would be that maybe Meghan and Doria cooked up a little something on the stove along with those bath salts.
Markle Jr. even implied that Meghan and Doria could have left something behind for Harry, something cooked up, possibly drug. It's a wild accusation, sure, but he's not presenting it as fiction. And considering the past rumors about Doria's alleged drug use, pot, and even crack, suddenly people are connecting that they might have ignored before. Add to that Meghan's track record. She's never been shy about leveraging Harry's status. She came into the royal family as an outsider, won over Harry's heart, and quickly isolated him from his support systems. His old friends gone, his military ties cut his relationship with Prince William dead in the water. And if you believe what insiders like Lady C say, Meghan didn't just support these decisions, she encouraged him. She wanted Harry unmet adrift, completely dependent on her. And let's not ignore the money angle. If Harry and Meghan divorce, she doesn't walk away with a royal fortune. But if she's a widow, that's a very different situation. Meghan would have legal control over whatever's not bound up in trust, not to mention full control over what the kids inherit until they're adults. It's grim. But that's the kind of angle being talked about behind closed doors. People aren't outright accusing her of plotting anything. But there's definitely a growing fear that she's the type to exploit a bad situation to its full potential. And the public is catching on, even publications that once bent over backwards to defend Meghan and Harry are backing off. U.S. Weekly, which used to be firmly in their corner, ran a cover story that barely had a kind word to say about Harry. Allies are turning into bystanders. No one seems shocked anymore. They just shake their heads and move on because the fairy tale's over. And what's left a mess that's getting harder to watch. There's something unsettling about how quickly the tide turned. Prince Harry was once the golden boy, the military man, the rebel royal with charm, but now he's being talked about like a cautionary tale. People aren't just disappointed in him anymore. They're worried, and not in the gentle concern kind of way. It's more like the way you watch a train wreck. You can't look away from, you know it's bad, but you're still glued to it. His appearances lately say it all. Hollow eyes, robotic. Speech is a vibe that screams, I don't want to be here. That German military video, the speech in China. It wasn't Harry. It was someone who looked like him, but with the light gone, he delivered his lines, smiled in all the right places. But something was off, like he was there in body, but completely absent in spirit. Even people who used to defend him have gone quiet. The online warriors who once claimed Meghan and Harry were revolutionaries fighting the good fight against outdated royal traditions are nowhere to be found, or worse, they've started Criticizing him, too, it's not just a PR slip-up, it's a collapse of the entire brand they try to build together. And speaking of branding, Netflix isn't pretending anymore the platform that once inked multi-million-dollar deals with a couple is slowly pulling away behind closed doors. Insiders are saying what many already guessed: Harry and Meghan didn't deliver. Sure, the initial Doka series got attention, but after that, crickets. Ted Sarandos, Netflix's co-CEO, is reportedly under pressure because of how Allen he went with them. And now that pressure is turning into boardroom tension. The royal family, on the other hand, just pulled off a major win on the same platform. King Charles teaming up with Idris Elba for a Netflix documentary celebrating 50 years of the Prince's trust. That wasn't just a power move, it was a message that said, we still matter, we're still respected, and we're not going anywhere. Meghan and Harry tried to beat the institution by leaving it, but instead of becoming global power players, they've been reduced to side characters in their own drama. Meghan's podcast guest not exactly A-list. While her dream might have been to replace William and Kate on the world stage, she can't even book the actual celebrities, just their moms. As for Doria Ragland, her role in this story is starting to come under serious scrutiny. She was once portrayed as the calm, grounding presence in Meghan's life, but now she's being accused of being complicit, maybe even enabling some of the chaos. Allegations about her past drug use have resurfaced, and whether or not they're true, they're fueling a new narrative, one where both Meghan and Doria are seen not as concerned family members, but as handlers, keeping Harry cut off from everyone who used to care about him. The deeper this goes, the harder it gets to imagine a way out. The old Harry, the one who laughed with kids, who hugged fans, who lit up a room, is long gone in his place. Is someone barely holding it together, stuck in a life he probably thought would be his escape, but turned out to be a different kind of prison. The real tragedy isn't just a fall, it's that no one seems to be reaching out to catch him anymore. Meghan didn't just burn bridges, she turned Harry's entire past into ashes. His family, once his foundation, is now painted as villains in the narrative she helped write. But at some point that storyline stopped working. The sympathy dried up. The world watched Harry point fingers at the only people who'd ever protected him, and it felt less like honesty and more like betrayal. Now there's nothing left to deflect with. The chaos is too loud. The most haunting part of all this is how visible the downfall has become. Every public appearance from Harry feels like a desperate attempt to prove he's fine. But his eyes say otherwise. There's an emptiness in his face, a man who's constantly performing, not living. His posture, his tone, the lack of spark. You don't need to be a body language expert to know something's broken. People used to love Harry because he felt real. He made mistakes, yes, but he owned them. There was charm in his rebellion, but now the rebellion seems hollow, like it was never his to begin with, like he was pushed into it by someone who needed his fame more than his well-being. Lady C hit it hard when she said Meghan didn't just liberate Harry, she unchained the worst parts of him. The side that lashes out, isolates, self-destructs. If you listen closely to what's being said by those on the inside, the fear isn't just about Harry making bad decisions. It's about what happens if he spirals further, what happens if the next story isn't just a rumor of unconsciousness, but something irreversible. These aren't casual worries. These are people who have known him for years now, openly voicing fears that he's at risk, and that no one close to him is helping. What makes the whole situation even more chilling is the growing theory around Meghan's motives. It's not just tabloid fluff. Any more real questions are being asked about the financial side, the legal control she'd hold as a widow, and the silence from her end as Harry deteriorates. People aren't accusing her of anything directly, but there's a quiet alarm in the way her image seems to strengthen. While Harry's falls apart, she always finds a way to stay spotless, smiling in photos, appearing poised. While Harry takes a hit, even the loyal media houses that once championed their love story are starting to flip. The narrative is no longer about the brave couple who left the palace. It's about two people who built a brand on victimhood and ran out of people to blame. The story has shifted from romance to regret, from escape to entrapment. And while Meghan may still be calculating her next move, be it a new series, a book deal, or another PR comeback, the damage that Harry feels permanent. He's not just bruised, he's lost. And the scariest part, he might not even know it anymore. He looks defeated because he is the war he thought he was winning turned out to be a game he was never equipped to play this isn't just a fall from grace. It's a warning, a reminder that fame can't fix what's broken inside, that if you let go of everyone who truly knows you, you'll be left surrounded by people who only know what they can take from you. And once they're done, they'll let you crumble while they move on to the next story.